Hey, my frosty babies. I had a great chat today with Blake Crouch about the Suntup release of Dark Matter. If you've never read Dark Matter, it's a sci fi thriller or a techno thriller about a guy who does some stuff. And I stopped short of saying what it's about, really, because I don't want to spoil anything, and I have a tendency to say too much. I overshare. It's because I care. So I talked to Blake Crouch about what it meant to be in a Suntup book, about writing, about horror, about genre, about where he gets his ideas from. I'm assisted in this interview with Chris Webster. He's the admin and founder of the Fans of Suntup Facebook page. So he sat in for a bit, and we had a lovely chat, a lovely talk. It was great. I'm jazzed about this release. Dark Matter is a great read. The Pines trilogy is a great read. Blake Crouch has some serious horror chops. If you've read Serial, a great short story collab he did. My wife hates it when I say collab. She's like, it's not a lab you're in with someone else. It's a collaboration. So you shouldn't say collab. But we do anyway, and then we don't edit. So get over to the Suntup site. Get the artist edition. It's still available. Amazing art in this book. I couldn't get an interview with the artist for this one, but her work is amazing, and I think it says all you need to hear. Really. Check it out. If you're a fan of Blake Crouch, if you're a fan of techno thrillers, and if you're a fan of Suntup, there's many reasons to want this book. And hopefully you'll find your reason, or you'll miss out, and then somebody else will get it. And then it's just the cycle of life, as Simba told me. So check out the interview. I hope you enjoy it. I love doing these. I love hearing from authors and artists and all the people that make these incredible editions, and I hope you do too. So check it out, and I'm going to say check it out one more time. Stay frosty. For once, I'm not talking to myself. It's time to go beyond the book and get over your shelf.
Yeah, something's happening.
We live.
Something's happening.
Something's happening. All right. Hello, we're live. Wow. Okay. Hello. Hello. We got some amazing things for everyone today, including an interview. We're going to see what's up. I'm talking. We got one viewer here. All right. Two viewers.
Two viewers. All right.
Sorry for the delay. What's up, Aaron? It took me a minute to set this up. And, oh!
There he is.
Hello. Hello.
Hey.
Oh. Yes. So it was a little behind the scenes for everybody. That's why it took a little bit to get going, a little later than normal, because we have Blake Crouch here with us today. Talk about the book. We're all really excited. Blake, I don't know if you've seen the chatter already in the group, but they're just rubbing their eyes and reacting to the book on a bright new release day. So
amazing.
So thank you for being here. And all of this was just an elaborate setup to get me and you to be friends. So that's really the whole point of why I had Paul Suntup do this book. I'm like, we got to force him to accept my friend request somehow.
Perfect. Yeah, good. My name is, I don't know if you know who I am, Blake. My name is Chris Webster. I co-admin the group, but I've known Paul for a long time. And he, ironically, when he sent out a request sheet, what books do you want to see? I put one thing down, and that was the Pines trilogy by you. It's the only thing I wrote down. I didn't write anything else. I just wrote those books that you wrote. I remember, and I read that. I picked up one, and I couldn't find the other two in my libraries, and I had to know what the F was going on, man. Like, it killed me. Couldn't get him here. No, I'm in from Halifax. Yeah. Couldn't get him. It was killing me. And anyway, I'm a huge fan. Your work.
Oh, thank you.
It's so nice Paul, brother. I'm a huge fan. So this is really cool for me. This is really cool for me.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Yeah, the editions look amazing. They look incredible.
They do. I think probably the reason why you had trouble getting the Pines trilogy where you are is because the Idaho state lobbied to, because that was crushing tourism probably to Idaho. Nobody wanted to go there after that book came out.
You couldn't buy it. And ironically, at the time, Chapters, Indigos, all of them, I said, well, can you order it in? And they couldn't get copies, the second two. And I had to go to the Dark Tower Forum and put a feeler out there. And a guy there sent me the other two so I could finish it. I was done, man. That was one of that there. I don't, ending of the first book is up there. That's way high for me. That's 6
Oh, thank you. Well, the good news with those is they're going to be unavailable for a moment, but they're being republished by Penguin Random House this fall.
Good. Anyone that has not read these books, I've said it on Drop Talk before. I've told people, anyone that listens to me, I'm telling you that I don't know how you came up with something so brilliant. That is just, man. That I have nothing but it's my. The Dark Tower by Stephen King and your series, The Pines Trilogy, are my two favorite series of all time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good company.
Yeah.
Good company.
I have stacks of cards for questions because this is one I actually prepared for. And
all right.
And we are going to talk about Pines. We're going to talk about the TV series for Dark Matter, all kinds of stuff. So I think there's a lot to react to, and I know it's always hard for me to try to plan these out because I want it to be a conversation, and chances are you're going to answer questions as we go through that. Then I could just toss the card on the floor. But so happy to have you here. Yeah, it's and I didn't know if we'd start with Pines, but Dark Matter is insane, and I think there's a lot of things that are similar with Pines, and some of these are thematic questions. But I gotta know, like, are you a hardcore science fan? Is it Dr. Crouch? Do you have a PhD? Because I gotta know, like, how much hard science research went into Dark Matter?
A lot. So I took like as few math and science classes as possible at university. I was just full on in English and creative writing. And when I got out, I got very interested in sort of the outlier scientific theories, quantum mechanics, genetic engineering, and really just started digging in. After I finished, basically right around Wayward Pines is when I started trying to incorporate more science into my stories, and really wanting to sort of define what I was doing by combining science, real science, and emotion. So yeah, these books take an extraordinary amount of research, but I always get really good subject matter experts. A guy named Clifford Johnson, who's head of physics at USC, consulted with me on dark matter and recursion. I got a guy named Dr. Wiles consulted with me on my new book Upgrade. So I'm always leaning on these subject matter experts to read my manuscripts and to talk to me about how to present these concepts in the most grounded, realistic way.
Now, when you do that, when you consult with the experts, do you ever come up with, like, there's something you want the character, you want the plot to do, or a direction you want to go, and they're just saying no, that the science won't bear that out, and then you have to shift things? Or do they keep you, or are you pretty much within the realm of what would be acceptable?
I'm generally stay in the realm of what's acceptable, and I try to find people who aren't, who don't just say no to things, but who want to help me like creatively solve problems. Often what I find is that they're pushing me to go even crazier than I'm thinking of in the beginning. Like, no, this stuff is, yeah, you could do this, but it could get even more wild.
More crazier than Dark Matter? Like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that is, I started with Pines, and unlike Chris, I just didn't have the other two.
I don't know why that is an issue. Wayward Pines seems to be available.
I think I paused on it because I thought the rumblings were maybe Suntup will do a Crouch book, and I want to experience it as that. And so
Right.
when I did know it was Dark Matter, which I already read, and then I finished the other two Pines books. But this is going to be really. I thought about this. This is a pretty tough interview because I don't want to spoil anything, and I think there are a lot of people here. This is a fans of Suntup page, and there's overlap for sure. If we did the Venn diagram, Blake Crouch fans, Suntup fans, but then there's a lot of people maybe who've never read Dark Matter or Pines, and to give away anything is
hard.
It's I
you can really only talk about like the first the first 30 pages.
Yeah. Yes. Like even when I said that about Idaho lobbying because it killed tourism there, I'm like, stop, pump the brakes now.
Too much.
Yeah. So I was a little worried about that to avoid spoilers. So I'd like to also put that out there. Let's just try to be careful. I think there's a lot that I'm seeing in the design of Dark Matter and the art. Have you seen the art, Blake?
I have. I thought, I think it's spectacular. I think it's actually spectacular. They had sent me a couple of concepts as it was being designed, and yeah, it's such an emotional cover that, or I know it's not the cover, but it's on the inside, and it really captures, I think, the emotion and the heart of the novel.
For sure. When I saw that dust jacket art I'm like, so what I love what Hillary did is that there's not necessarily spoil anything, but if you've read the books or if you've read Dark Matter, I'm still in Pines. That is a powerful cover. Yeah, I think she knocked it out of the park.
She crushed it.
Did you have any hand in picking the artist, or you just reviewed what she?
Yeah, I think they sent me a handful of artists, and I looked at the portfolios, and Hillary seemed to combine the sort of the otherworldly elements of the sci-fi that I love, but also there was that big emotional component in her work, and it's like this feels like the right choice for this art. Yeah.
I never knew that Suntup would do that, send like the author different choices. Now knowing that what you just said,
I asked to see them, and they're like,
oh,
okay.
Cool, okay. Now that
I don't know if that's normal or not.
That art really, after we're done, I plan to go right back at it and have some really close looks because of your words there. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think of the people I've been lucky enough to talk to who have been involved in the behind the scenes creating these editions, authors, artists, it's been a range. Thomas Oldehuvelt suggested Chris Behrens. Some of I shared the art live with Patrick McCabe for Butcher Boy, so it varies. I think it's got to be a very sort of hard thing to hand off interpretation of vision to somebody else. So I'm glad that worked for you, for sure.
Yeah, no, it was great. Paul was amazing to work with, and because I wanted to just understand what Suntup was, what I'd heard of them, but I wasn't really that familiar. So we got on the phone and kind of explained to me like what they do and what their approach is, and was frankly blown away because I've had plenty of like special editions made of my work, but I mean, no one's working at the level of Suntup. I mean, this is bananas what they've done.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Blake, because a lot of people purchase these books, and it's not just it's an emotional purchase to buy editions because they are so luxurious, especially when, like, for someone like me, who's a huge fan of your work, that, and have been for a long time, knowing that you might be coming, and Paul keeps that mystery. If you're familiar with Watches Lives, there's a mystery. I mean, I thought maybe it was you, and I was really excited. This is one of probably my favorite release of the last year or more. So, I was really waiting to see this drop. So it's really emotional for a lot of people, especially when someone that cares so much about the author's work. And they don't skimp on these editions. There is extreme luxury and a real homage paid to you, the author, for what they're doing. It's not just slapped together by any means. Which is cool.
No, it's the I haven't actually held these editions yet, but I'm gonna be like watching the mail and waiting for these things to come in now.
And then you're, after you get it, you're gonna call Paul. All right, let's do Pines, right?
Well, I guess we can jump around a bit because Pines is getting re-released.
Yeah.
As a trade. So will those be hardcovers? Is it going to be an omnibus? Like, do you have any details you can share?
We're doing trade paperback, and we're doing it in 3 volumes. We're not doing an omnibus yet. We're doing trade paper in 3 volumes. I want it to be. Here's what I wanted. When I first published Wayward Pines, I worked with Amazon Publishing, and the Fox show was out, and we did. I'm so happy with what we were able to accomplish. We reached, literally millions and millions of people. But it was primarily through the Amazon ecosystem, and in a few instances, bookstores. But those books have never really been widely and easily available in print. And it was just very important to me to make that happen, and to also roll Pines and the Wayward Pines series into my branding that has evolved since then into Dark Matter, Recursion, Upgrade. I wanted it to be all a part of the same feel. So really, really excited about it. And I don't know, we'll see when it comes out. I've always said never, ever gonna do a 4th Wayward Pines book, but
I was just gonna ask.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what people think. I'm not like saying that's going to happen, but
maybe.
I'm saying it's not an impossibility anymore.
Oh yeah, best news.
I love that. I love that.
Me
because
too.
That would be wow. Yeah. So, are you gonna have any of the bonus content in this re-release? Any new material at all included?
Well, I will say, so another specialty publisher called Borderlands Press just put out is releasing the first ever U.S. hardcover editions of the Wayward Pines series. Pines just came out, and in the back of the very special edition, I published which has never been, I've never really even shared it with anyone before. I published the first iteration of this idea, which was a screenplay called Psychosis.
Wow.
That I wrote back in 2008. It didn't really I was still sort of a fledgling screenwriter at that point in time, but you can see a lot of the DNA of the Wayward Pines story in it. And I thought it would be a special thing to publish for the fans. F. Paul Wilson also contributed he wrote a story in the Wayward Pines universe back when the show came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that is the first and only time that story has been in print. Paul's story.
So that's the only way to get that. Okay, because I need to see that. I need to read that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
When you conceived of Pines, did you always know it was going to be a 3-book a trilogy, or did you just like write Pines and then you realized you had more to tell?
No, I thought it was going to be a one-off, and
wow.
When I wrapped it up, I just thought what a beautiful place to leave this character, and I only felt that, and I thought I was done. I started thinking about my next book, and then I realized, wait, are you stupid? You just set up like the greatest second book ever. And usually second books are, and it's why I don't write series. I think series inevitably just decay in quality, the newness, the freshness. But I thought one of the cool things I can do is now, no one really knows what's going on in the first book, and it's all a mystery, this paranoid thriller. And then I had this idea of making the second book the structure of almost of a detective story.
Yeah.
And then making the third book the structure of a horror novel. And so I got really excited about the idea of, because that's different. It's not just a series where it's like the same thing, but slightly different over and over and over again. There was a way to really play with genre and take a different genre approach to each of the 3 novels. And I will say, as I was starting to write the third novel, there was a hot minute where I thought it was actually going to be a 6-book series.
Really?
I had some crazy ideas for making it a just really like kind of slowing it down and blowing it out. And I didn't do that for a couple of reasons. Mainly, I just was like, I think that I'm going to burn out on this. I want to write other things, and I would rather leave people wanting more than wearing out the welcome on these characters.
Definitely did that. You definitely did that.
I'll tell you another thing. How'd you feel about I'm not going to spoil anything, but the last line in the last book?
Yes.
Amazing.
How do you feel about it?
How they feel about it? It was awesome.
So,
Yeah.
a little behind the scenes. At the time, my editor at the time, really encouraged me not to use that last line.
Why?
To not have the epilogue.
That is what.
And I was like, are you kidding me? Like,
brilliant.
Yeah.
I really hope there's people watching us right now, because I know there is on the Suntup group. And now that they know that you're here tonight, they'll go home and they'll watch this. I'm telling you guys to do what you can to get that series and read it. I mean, I know there a lot of them have already read Dark Matter, because we discussed the clues that Paul drops, and that was, so a lot of people have gone and grabbed your book. We have roughly 2,000 members, and I would say a good 25-30% of them have gone and grabbed a copy of this book to prepare themselves. Do I want to keep the special edition? Do I want to pick it up? Do I want an artist? Do I want to go for a letter? How much do I love the story? And I'm really encouraging everybody, like the first series, like I said, that I didn't know who you were. I watched the TV show, saw that something happened in the TV show. I'm not going to give anything away. And I went, holy shit, I have to go get that book. So I really hope that everyone watching here also does what they can, or as soon as your new release comes, and does yourself a favor, get to that last line of the third book. Brilliant.
It'll be October this year.
October, perfect. Good to know.
And then my novel Abandoned is also going to come out about this time next year. Also, so yeah.
So the next one is
re-released. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So did Upgrade just came out, right?
No, it's coming out.
Or am I behind?
Yes. I've not read. Upgrade is not read.
It comes out July 12th.
I'll be grabbing that for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I think anybody who's read Dark Matter and enjoyed it, I think you'll love the Pines trilogy. Yeah.
Oh, you'll love it. You'll love every book.
I gotta say, that's all I've read so far, except for that that there was a short story you wrote with Conrath, Serial. That was bonkers.
I've not read that.
Oh,
no
you
one should read it.
It's
no one should read it.
Oh no! Oh no!
Exist.
Everybody.
Yes.
No,
why is it not good?
It's
if
awesome.
Anyone ever wonders if I'm a
horror
horror writer at heart, that story will settle the debate.
Okay, so yes, I was going to ask that. So the first thing I read was Serial from you. Do you have more? And like you said, the third book in the Pines trilogy was created as a horror novel. I would say Dark Matter is sci-fi thriller. I don't even know, how would you categorize Dark Matter? Would you say sci-fi or thriller, or both?
Sci-fi. I would say sci-fi.
Yeah, I mean it's speculative. I think it's actually a techno thriller, because sci-fi is much more world build. I think of it as world building. I think of the pacing as a bit slower. And the pacing of Dark Matter, well, there's obviously world building. It's fast. It's a thriller.
I think I read that in like 3 days, which 4 days. Fast for me. Usually slower reader, but I couldn't put it down, man. I had to
know. No. And it gets you right away, that book.
Mm.
Yeah. So techno thriller. Yeah. Yeah, I could see, because that's why I was struggling categorizing it. Sci-fi does feel either you're going to another planet or you're exploring some, distant area. But that clicks in my head because I was going to ask, has anyone ever called you the 21st century H.G. Wells?
I don't think so. No, I don't believe so.
All right, well, then I'm claiming that. Everybody,
That's just
you're claiming it? You're taking it?
So that's going to be a blurb on your books. Anonymous. Say, Blake Crouch is the 21st century H.G. Wells, and the attribution is going to be to some anonymous jerk. But because to me, if you think of the science available for H.G. Wells at the time, Island of Dr. Moreau, Time Machine, Invisible Man, they were science fiction, yes, but I guess you could call them techno thrillers as well, or tech thrillers, or because he's working with the technology he had available and building these themes. What would a person do if they could be invisible? What would a person do if they could travel through time? And you're exploring those themes of home and what would a man do if he had access? Because we all have that question, and it's why it's a brilliant thing on your book. What does it say? Are you happy with your life? Everybody asks that. What could you do if you could do something about that? And so the technology comes in as an assist to, or as an empowerment to people to do the things that they couldn't even imagine before. So you're 21st century H.G. Wells right there.
I love it.
That's an honor, I would say. Yeah.
Oh my God. And I think if he had access to some of these, string theory, quantum physics, and things like that, he'd explore some of these similar ideas. And I think that's, but not everybody could. And I think that's what you brought to it. But in all my rambling, I was going to get back to horror. Do you see yourself, you said at heart you're a horror author. Are you going to get back to just a bare bones horror book, or are you
I'd love to. Like it'd have to be the right idea. Yeah. I don't know if I don't have the idea for it yet. I'd love to do it in theory. It'd have to be the right idea at the right time. I've chatted with my editor about it a little. It's like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like in my books, my ideas.
Yeah. So like when you start with a book, what's the first thing?
Well, like right now, I'm starting to figure out my next book, and it usually begins with a big idea that I'm excited about, and I have that, and then I take that and I'll just spend like a few months journaling and writing out some ideas for plots, writing out like character sketches, starting to do some research if there's a science component. And hopefully after 3 or 4 months, I see like a collection of scenes that I'm like really excited about and that have a certain flow to them. And then I start figuring out, is there a structure here that could actually work? And I will generally take it through the midpoint. If I know what's happening through the midpoint and there's an amazing opening and I have just a notion of like maybe the last half of the book, then I'll dive in and I'll start working.
So months of preparation, and you may not even write anything.
Yeah. Usually I don't.
Wow. No way.
Yeah. I am very mean to my ideas.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating.
I'm not one of those writers who I like have 10 ideas. I just need the time to write them. I'm not that way at all. I search long, go to the end of the earth looking for the right next idea, because when you in my early part of my career, I wrote what I would consider were smaller books. I like them. I'm proud of them. They didn't set the world on fire. But once you write something that catches the attention of a lot of people, like Weird Pines and Dark Matter, it's like there's no reverse gears anymore. there's no point in writing something if I don't feel like I can write something at that level or greater.
Yeah, could that be? It's funny. I talked to Thomas Oldhuvelt, and he felt that way as well when the success of Hex happened. He said it gave him a little bit of a paralysis. Like he didn't want to deliver something, and that sounds similar to what you're saying. You didn't want to deliver something that you felt. So when you say you're mean to your ideas, does that mean you like interrogate them from every angle before you're ready to share them?
And it's not like, I don't think it's a paralysis so much as like, it's just like raising the bar for what I'm willing to dive into. Because when I write a book, it's like, I mean, for Upgrade, I threw out 70,000 words. I threw out a whole novel's worth of pages on that book before I got to the good stuff. And it's like, it's a huge undertaking. It's 3 years of my life. It's, amazing and exhilarating at times, really frustrating at times. So if I'm going to put myself and my family through that, it's going to be in service of an idea I think is like an actual home run.
That's amazing because one of my, I'm sorry, Chris, you want to say something?
Oh, it's just amazing. Amazing. That was very, very interesting to hear that.
And I think it's interesting because one of the things I was thinking is, and I think you just answered it, was your books do feel very organized. They feel like I think that there's the natural inclination for somebody to read a book and start poking it, and if they find a crack in the dam, if they find any bit of daylight between the plot and something that they could see through, then it's all over and they don't forgive it, and then they'll harp on those things. But with yours, it feels very solid and organized. So, I mean, I think it pays off in the craft. I think you're an architect of these books as much as a writer, and I think that really helps keep it solid, especially when you're dealing with these big ideas.
Yeah, no, I think it's also about like ending books well. I read a lot, and I just don't find many books, even the ones that we see on the bestseller lists and that get very high praise. I just think that endings are very hard, and there are not a lot of people out there who land the plane. It's like it's like taking a plane off. It's easy, we could probably take a plane off in a pinch if we had to, but like landing that big thing, and that's, if you don't land it, people aren't going to sign up for your next adventure. Your first line sells the book and your last line sells your next book. And if they feel like they've been on this crazy journey, and then that's the excitement that makes people want to go out and tell other people to read your stuff.
It's why I picked up your next book.
Yeah.
I continually picked up the next book. The landings landed well for me. They really did. Yeah.
And I'm amazed that you were thinking of Pines being a one-off, only because it is so seamless and solid that whole, it doesn't feel like, for example, there's an author, Brian Lumley, who did a series called Necroscope. The first 5 books are fun, excellent, but you can tell by the end, they're just getting like, it's a big wad that you're sticking back onto the big mud ball. And, you're just creating these things because there's demand for them, but no passion for them from the author. And those 3 books,
it's tiring. You get tired of these, you get tired. It's these series, like they take it out of you. And, the good part about writing a series is you don't have to come up with the big new idea that launches you off. The hard part about a series is it's very easy for it to feel stale, and, you feel like you don't have something new to bring to the characters and the story. And I was just like, I want to get out of this thing before it starts to go sideways. The big thing, and also the big thing for me in terms of selling these or reselling these books and having them reissued, we talked about doing an omnibus, but my feeling was that like there is an omnibus somewhere out there to come. They've never been all bound up. But if you ever do that, it should be like an incredible limited edition. It should be a Suntup or a Borderlands, and it should be altogether, they're about the length of one big old George R.R. Martin novel or a Harry Potter novel. I think that would be that'd be a very cool package.
Yeah, I agree, and I think you're right. A lot of people haven't gotten to experience because of how they were released in the beginning, and now they're a broader release. It's a great way for those books leave each where they end. They're contained, leave you wanting to jump to the next one. An omnibus I would have read, but I wouldn't have had the same power for me as like the search for me to find those books was like I didn't care about nothing else. I had to know where your characters were going, and I couldn't get them. I couldn't not get them where I was at. And someone was kind enough, like I say, to send me them, but like I couldn't get them. And you know, that journey being separated, you know, made me want to go to the next one. And altogether, great. But I think there's a mystique in what he did with the three of them.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
So you were talking about a series, and I saw that Dark Matter is going to be a TV series.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I cannot talk about it. I cannot talk about it.
Okay.
That's all I can say. Hang tight, but I can't.
All right. Oh,
Trust.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool.
Trust the process. All I can say.
Fair enough.
I'm not being coy. I'm telling you, like, if I shared the details of all of, you know, take any of my projects that were, you know, purchased by a studio and on the road to maybe or maybe not becoming a movie or a TV series, I'm like, the reason I don't talk about them is because the vast majority of the time it doesn't happen, and it can feel like you're right on the edge and it's about to happen, but then your director falls out. You know, you don't make the deal with an actor. Like, there's so many things that can derail it. And I take that journey on, and it's frustrating, and there's no point in taking my fans along on that journey. But hang tight.
That would be awesome. Yeah, no, I know it's notoriously a rug pull. I mean, as fans here, there's a lot of Stephen King fans here, and we went through it with the Dark Tower series, and like how
over and over.
Yeah, this is like it's like you can't get much better of a guarantee. You can't get a better guarantee, because I know with Hollywood and all these things, they want that built-in audience. They want to know that the people are going to come along. You have these great books, but you also had the Pines Wayward TV series, which I haven't seen.
Good.
Was it? So
I loved the first season a lot.
First season is fantastic.
Brilliant.
It went sideways in the second season. That's all I'll say. But the first season is truly great.
The end of the first season is like, wow, right? It was just well done. It was good. It was good. I like the actor too.
It was always conceived as a single season series.
Oh, really? So it felt that. You know what? I agree with you. It kind of felt that way. Just one.
But, you know, something successful. People want to make more
Welcome
of it.
to Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. There's so much airtime to sell, and and subscriptions and streaming services want to do that. So that's okay. So I'll stick to the first season. I usually don't like to mix my media. I like to, if I read it as a book, that's where I like to stay. But
there's
I'm
one
curious.
really great episode in the second season. There's one really great episode in the second season. Maybe one of the best episodes of the entire series, but otherwise not amazing. Second season, but the first is, I'm super proud of it.
Yeah, really good.
That's cool. I'm sorry you can't talk about it because I'm burning to know, but that I understand it. I respect it. I will say, this is just us. There's only 18 people here. You know, it's like, yeah. You know, so let me see. Can you comment on the introduction by Andy Weir for Dark Matter and how that came about?
I haven't read it. I haven't seen it.
Oh,
I have not seen it. All I can say, Andy's a pal. He's a pal, and love his writing. He's a friend. I haven't seen his introduction.
Wow.
Have you read it?
No.
Yeah. No. Paul has. If Paul's doing an arc for it, he hasn't sent it yet. So The first, I was happy to be on that email thread when you first were able to react to the books. That was fun for me, getting a peek at those the concept. What do you think of the concept with the 3 different colors and all that for the numbered edition?
Oh, I think it's super cool. I like the case. I love the case that the book fits in. I think it's kind of reminiscent. One of the things I told Paul is it'd be, you know, without saying anything, it'd be great to have something that's like box-like for the book to rest in.
Yeah.
And we went through some. We talked about, you know, some various ways to do that. I think what I wanted to do was like prohibitively expensive, which was just build the box, have the book inside of it.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about metal. And, now we're talking like a $15,000 edition, and I don't know,
Roman numeral.
I don't know how many people. I don't know how many of those fans I have, but
you're gonna be pleasantly surprised to see. I think the sales on this one, there's they're gonna be up there. I think it's a cool concept. I would love to see the lettered edition. Every time you put the book in the case and close it, when you open it, it's a different color or a different language, or you open
That would be awesome.
Yeah, Paul's pissed at me right now, probably for saying
Schrodinger's
that.
cat with the book. Schrodinger's cat with the book.
Right. Yeah.
I think you'll find. I know me. I'm going to be hunting for. I will want all of the colors of the numbered one. I think a lot of people, what we call like completists, they want every Suntup version that they can get, and there are guys out there that will want each one of those colors and will do what they can get them. I'm kind of one. I will dabble in it depending on how the prices go, but there are guys that will do that. They will have each one of those colors in their collection. No question.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. That's a thing. As odd as it is, it's a thing.
Well, it's collectors, and I think, you know, when we were talking about the Suntup editions and how it's an emotional purchase, it's an emotional sort of community centered on the books. It's because we are a collection of collectors and readers, and so you're going to get people with different motivations. But for me, I'm here because I'm a reader, and I don't hold anything above the written word. I think the written word is the most powerful thing we have, and I want an edition of a book I love to pay homage to that. Yeah.
And I think it's a great. Other than, I mean, I don't know. I think music and the written word are the most pure forms of art. Everything else is, you know, subset.
Right, and I think you can get film, you can get television and film. It does take a lot of talent to convey, but there are so many players. There's the director, the actors, the screenwriters, and so many people have to pull together, and you have to get super lucky because you need a whole team of people, whereas a band or an author, it is much more
very hard to maintain that purity of vision. Yeah, because there are so many cooks, and you have to have that many cooks in the kitchen. It just makes it so incredibly important in hiring the right people.
So are you happy when, other than financially, I know financially it's great when Hollywood wants to buy your idea, but how do you feel as a creative handing over any of that translation to other people? What is that? Is it something you just sort of like, well, I got to do it, or are you excited about it?
I don't sell it. I don't sell my work to people who I don't think have a good chance of doing a great job. And I also, I've been lucky enough that I haven't had anything made. Even, you know, we talk about second season Wayward Pines. It's not as amazing as the first. I haven't had anything done I'm like embarrassed about, or, you know, want to hide under a rock. And the things that are important to me, I insert myself into the process and become very involved in. And that's sort of how I do what I can to make sure, you know, what comes out on the film and TV side of things is very true to what I intend. That's very corruptible.
It's your brand too, you know.
Right.
It's your brand,
right.
and I always say when, why do these fail? And I've been upset, by a director friend of mine. He's done some really impressive work. And, I said, we were talking about why certain movies fail when they're with the book. And it's because the vision is lost of that author. That author, sometimes his heart and soul and years of his life into this. And studios and directors to a degree, screenwriters, they butcher it a bit. Staying as true as you can to the novel, you've already made those fans happy. So now you have a following immediately because you've respected your fans that loved your piece of work. And then, if they're also positive, well, guess what? Now, Jane and John Doe are going to check it out as well. And I think Hollywood needs to be more in tune with paying respect to the author's work and following the book closely as they can.
It's also hard because I mean, books have to change. They are very different forms of media. In books, there are very few books that are written in such a way that it's a one-to-one adaptation. Hard choices do have to be made. It's just about like preserving what was the spirit of what the author was into.
Right. Yeah, because like Wayward Pines the book is far better than I think than the TV series is good, but the book was far better for me. And it's very rare. I can't think of a Shawshank Redemption movie I found better than the book. There's not many that I can think of that will transcend better than the book.
Yeah.
But you are right about that spirit. That's a definite. You need that. You do.
Yeah. I got a question about Dark Matter.
Sure.
You said it in Chicago. I was born and raised in Chicago. I know you have nostalgia. Were you from Chicago or?
No, I have a lot of friends in Chicago, and I was in Chicago in Logan Square when I came up with the idea for Dark Matter. I was there with a friend of mine named Marcus Saki. If you guys know him, he's a writer. He's a novelist. Wrote the Brilliance trilogy. We get together when, if time allows, as we're starting to figure out our new projects, we'll get together and hang out for 3 days and drink beer and go to nice meals and just hang and it's kill zombies on the PlayStation, but also it's an open space to start talking about our books. And I was at this restaurant called Longman and Eagle in Logan Square, which is a wonderful place. And I was like struggling, off of Wayward Pines. I was like feeling some pressure to like come up with something big and bad, and started talking about. I don't want to get spoilery, but started talking about the box, and I just suddenly saw like this whole book just sort of unfurling out ahead of me. And so I was, having been in Chicago, it just felt when it happened, it just felt like Chicago was in the DNA of Dark Matter, and I wanted to make the city a character. It's a gorgeous city too. It's one of the coolest cities I think in the world. And I haven't seen a lot of justice done to it.
No, not lately for sure. But one thing stood out as a Chicago native when you wrote. You have a street you name a few times. You call it Pulaski Drive. Is that intent? Like, because I live near Pulaski. It's Pulaski Avenue, right? Pulaski Road. And you call it Pulaski Drive. Was that like? Did you mean like? I don't think there is a Pulaski Drive, is there?
I'll tell you, I just picked, it sounded very Midwestern to me. It sounded like a Midwestern, no, it was a complete random choice. It just sounded Midwestern to me.
With the nature of the book, I loved it because I thought, in this book, it's Pulaski Drive because of what the book's about. So, anyway, I just had to know that for me. It was just something that...
Yeah.
What was the name of the restaurant? I think we have
Longman and Eagle.
Longman and Eagle. Was that for you, Joe? Or you just? I think she's trying to make reservations now. So we're gonna head out. But I had another question. This is a very personal question. I bought 2 of these, and you know why?
Why?
Inside, is that a facsimile signature?
It is.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I thought.
I wanted my
anywhere.
signature on everyone. So yes. So yeah, when people bring me to sign it, I usually sign a real one in blue underneath it.
Oh, cool. That's neat.
Yeah.
Well, someone's selling one on eBay. Someone's selling on eBay, and they're saying it's signed. So we might need to have a talk with that person.
I need to have a word with them.
Blake, or do you do a lot of signings throughout the U.S. and whatnot?
I do.
Cool.
I mean, a lot. I just signed for up. It's the most I've ever done for upgrade. I just signed 4,500 tip-ins.
Wow.
They're going to be widely available in the indie stores in America.
Will you go public where people could come up and get an inscription or something along those lines?
Yeah. Well, I have a local bookstore where I live in Durango, Colorado. It's called Maria's Bookshop, and we are set up there. So I drop in usually once every 2 weeks or so.
Cool.
And I just sign and personalize books for people.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
They're great. You call them and you say, yeah, I want this signed. I want a specific inscription. If
that's awesome.
And I'll drop in and sign. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know. You're probably gonna have a lot of requests after saying that on you.
Yeah.
And I like that when there's an author with a relationship with an indie bookstore. I like to. Jeff Vandermeer has a bookstore in Florida that does his stuff. And yeah, I like doing that because it's close to the author's heart if they have a relationship, and it's supporting a small bookstore, and they probably know how to ship a book, unlike Amazon, which you'll get a hardcover book in a paper envelope.
That's right.
Which is
horrible.
Okay. So I mean, did you hear Paul went live yesterday and he was talking about today the release, and he said this is one of the most requested titles, and as Chris said, he's probably one of the loudest requesters for this book too. So you know, is that surprising to you? Are you what's your, I mean, obviously you're happy with that, but
yeah, I'm happy with it. I mean, I don't know what I don't have a sense. I mean, I'm kind of becoming aware of the stuff that Suntup does, and it looks like it's not just genre; it's like all over the place. I saw some really cool Cormac McCarthy packages. Yeah, no, I'm thrilled. I didn't realize it was I guess a big deal to collectors as much.
It is, yeah, very big deal. Paul, a couple of times will ask us as a collector to share some titles. We'd love to get what we call the Suntup treatment, and this particular book was requested a lot by the people. So, and I had filled out Dark Matter on my second time asked. Wayward Pines was on my first time. So you've been in both times I've requested. The first time I just requested Wayward Pines. I mean, you could do 10 titles. I just said Wayward Pines. That's all I asked. Yeah. But this time you were Blake, or Dark Matter was one of a few.
Oh, it's a huge honor. I mean, again, I've sold to specialty publishers before, but I just didn't realize until I checked out like who Suntup was, like the level of quality and care. I mean, I don't think anyone's doing editions like this that I've ever encountered.
Yeah, there's not many. There's a handful, but there's not many of where Suntup is. But that's what he wanted. Paul wanted heart and soul poured into every, and none edition is just put together. I mean, if you can look back on the website, none of them are just kind of cobbled together just to do it because they're done. They're done to honor your work. By doing true honor, by doing that true honor, it creates an edition that's just it must have, right? It's a must.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I do have to go, guys.
All right.
I do too. I have a meeting in 5 minutes here.
Anyway, like a real honor for me to chat with you, and thank you for
Chris. Awesome to meet you.
Oh,
brother. Thank you for the support and
welcome. Yeah. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah,
thank you, Jeff.
Thank you guys.
Great job.
Thank you It's awesome. I just got to ask real quick, are you building an amusement park anywhere? Because I'd imagine that you'd have a couple of rides and a lot of people would go there. They just wouldn't ever return, maybe.
I'd go.
I'd go too, sure. There'd be.
That's when you know you've made it, and you get a roller coaster based on your IP. That's when you know you've hit it. I don't have any rides yet.
We just don't know where the track ends, and it might, it might bring you back. I don't know, but that roller coaster never returns.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Thanks,
Well,
guys.
Thank you. I'm going to stay on a little
Enjoy the
longer
edition.
and talk to people if they want, get some reaction. And I hope you check back in the group to see what they're saying. I think I love it when authors stick around to see the chatter. And I know the fans love it too. So thank you.
Bye, guys.
Love it. All right. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Take it easy.